Welcome back, everybody. I want to welcome you to Knicks Deli, baby.
Knicks Deli Edition.
Knicks Deli Edition. Let me explain to you how this works. Here in Knicks Deli, everybody eats. But you already know there's 4 items on the menu here in Knicks Deli. First, there's the bacon, egg, and cheese. Best sandwich in the world. You know it comes from New York. So we're going to talk about what's 3 topics, the bacon, the egg, and cheese that make this thing bussin'. Next up is the dollar slice. Everybody knows New York has the best pizza in the world. So the dollar slice is about stability. It's the most stabilizing factor here in New York. So we want to talk about who is the dollar slice topic of the day. Next up, you got the chopped cheese. Chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be bussin'. So we're going to talk about what is the chopped cheese topic of the game. And lastly, you can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. And here in Knicks Deli, baby, we call that the quarter water of the game. Yeah, the quarter water of the game. So we're going to talk about what topic is the quarter water of the game. Contributes a little bit in each quarter to help us get that victory. All right, then we're going to wrap it up. You know, you can't have all the good items on the menu if you ain't got one that's a little bit suspect. And I said everybody eats here at Knicks Deli, so we got to have something for the haters. You know, I feed them too, so they're going to get the glizzy of the game.
Hey yo!
Hey yo is correct. So we're going to talk about who gets the glizzy of the game, all right? That's that thing on the menu. You know, when you want to shut somebody up, you don't want to just be rude. Then you give them a glizzy to gobble on. So we're going to talk about who gets the glizzy of the game. Then we're going to wrap this thing up with the nah son, nah you wildin' moment of the day. And that's it. That's Knicks Deli. So we're going to jump into it. Who gets the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese here in Knicks Deli today? And the bacon goes to, obviously, we got a new coach, Mike Brown. So shout out to Mike Brown. So, you know, KD community, what's your first impressions? My first impressions, if you ask me, is this. You know, now that he's here, he's our coach, so we're going to rock with him. You know, when you do the research and you try to compare him, you got to ask yourself, you know what, is he that much better than Thibs? You know, we were comfortable with Thibs. Thibs was here. He was long-standing, so he has a body of work that's here. But you know what? People will say the same thing for Steve Kerr when he took over Mark Jackson's role. You know what I mean? So it's just like, how much better is Steve Kerr? Steve Kerr has no coaching experience. So what are we doing? So I'm just hoping for that. I'm hoping for that same type of outcome. You know, I want it to be a situation, and if you look at it, it's eerily similar, right? So if you had Mark Jackson, who did a great job, developed 2 of the best shooters in NBA history, gave them confidence, got that team turned around by adding an offense and a defense together, and then that's what you're looking at. And then they hand the reins off and move on from Mark Jackson because they said he was a little bit against working closely with the front office. Because of his success, he wanted to be able to do what he wanted to do. All right. And allegedly, you know, in recent weeks, there's been some leaks and some articles and some journalists who've reported that Thibs is a little bit the same way. You know, they were saying that they were looking for a head coach. They be in the front office. We're looking for a head coach who's more willing to work with the front office lockstep, which insinuates that Thibs wasn't doing it. And you almost get a little bit of that feel in the playoffs when we started going to the young players. It's almost a sense that was the front office telling Thibs, yo, bruh, you know, when the behind, throw some extra bodies in there, some fresh bodies in there. And when he did, we had some success. So, you know, Mike Brown, man, he's here. I like his energy. You know, I talked about it in the previous video where I said I don't think I've had a coach who smiled that much since Fizdale, and you know how that turned out. So, you know, if you have somebody who is now part of your team, an important part of your team, you don't want to speak poorly over that person. You want that person to be successful. I want him to be a coach that they talk about like Steve Kerr, you know. So, you know, at first it's going to be, you know, should that be Thibs' championship? Gave Thibs another year, he would have got us to the promised land. I want that type of argument being had. So that's my first impression. I think, you know, he comes with a resume. You know, I like how they laid out the resume as well. I like how his energy was when he talked about having called, I think they said he called every player, so that's phenomenal. That's a great start. And just his energy, man, he seems excited. He seemed a little bit nervous, and that's going to happen because you're in New York. This is big time. I like how he's just recognizing it for what it is. And once again, I think that's there. I think with that hire, there's a lot of residual effects. We saw recent video with Mark Jackson. I just mentioned Mark Jackson, who's a legendary point guard from New York, went to St. John's, rookie of the year here in the Knicks, and I think he felt slighted a little bit. He went and made that Instagram post, which was throwing Drake-like shots. And, honestly speaking, man, ultimately that reputation follows you. If they just moved on from Thibs, who had a reputation, who they know, I mean, they're friends with Thibs, and Thibs is still in good contact and all of that. So it, like Josh Hart said, it was a change of direction. You know what I mean? It was a change of direction. So it's not like it was just like, you're fired, don't ever come back. Thibs is going to always get a meal in the city, so, but the rumor was, the front office wants to be able to make a suggestion and then see that suggestion come to fruition. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And it wasn't happening. So you bring a Mike Brown in here who is kind of like, yo, I'm all for that. Give me the opportunity. Let me see what I can do with this roster. It's a great team. Put me at the helm. Let me steer the ship. So I'm hyped for it. I'm not a little bit hyped. I'm a lot hyped. I'm a Thibs fan. You already know that. I take Thibs tablets. I didn't pour them out. They still in my cabinet. You know what I mean? So I will really always give that man the credit he deserves for pulling us out of the pits of hell, because we were there and the NBA was loving it while we were there, which is why they don't like it now, because we're not there no more. So yeah, Mike Brown, my guy, you get the best, you get the bacon of the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli, baby. Round of applause for Mike Brown. Next up, who gets the egg of the bacon, egg, and cheese? Now the egg goes to the New York Knicks' free agency signings. Round of applause for those signings. Leon Rose has done it again, and we knew he would. We knew what this summer was about. It was a surprise that we were able to add Karl Anthony Towns and McCall Bridges to the roster before the season last year. That was out of nowhere. No Knicks fan had any idea that was going to be pulled off. And then we struggled through the season with a pretty thin bench. And once again, everybody pointing at Thibs. You don't play the people. You don't play blah, 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 blah. We were thin at the bench. There wasn't much to pull from. There really wasn't much to pull from. All right. And it showed. It showed in the playoffs. It showed with some of these teams who were running us up and down the court. And they had high-level people here to kind of share those minutes. And we were struggle busting. But we knew, at least I knew, because I kept saying it repeatedly on my videos, we got Cat, when we got McCall, we had no other room to get anybody else. That's just the way the apron is set up. We have no other room until next summer where we can get our bench. Once we have our bench with this starting unit, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem because we'll be whole. And that's exactly what Leon Rose did, picking up two great pieces. One, we got Jordan Clarkson, former sixth man of the year. Tremendous offensive player. Sometimes he has brain farts, he's going to have some streaks where he can't stop shooting. But come on, man. I mean, to a Knicks fan who lived through the John Starks era, what are you talking about? What are you telling me? You ain't telling me nothing. As long as that man don't go 1 for 6, you know what I mean? Or, from 3-point range. Or what was it? Not even 1 for 6. It was like, I think he put up like 11 shots or something. Yeah, don't remind me. I don't even want to know. I fire blasted it from my memory. But great pickup. Microwave scorer. I think the man is like 6'7". He has confidence. He's young enough to blend in with our core group and grow with them. I think he's there for the big stage. I think he's ready for the big stage. Did his thing in Utah when he really locked in. He was able to get that 6th Man of the Year award. So I'm really looking forward to that. That was great. That was exactly what we needed. And it was a hole that we filled. Next, we got Yabusele, from the Philadelphia 76ers. So we got like a 6, I think it might be 6'8" to 6'10", power forward, power forward / small forward. The man has great footwork. He has a good jump shot. He can hit the 3-pointer, but he's also physical in the paint. And it was something good. So, I mean, we needed somebody to back up that power forward role coming off of the bench. So now what we're looking at is we're looking at Deuce, we're looking at Josh, we're looking at Clarkson, we're looking at Yabusele, and we're looking at Hukporti. What are we doing right now? What you want is a great bench, somebody that can come off or in some way impact the game when the starters go out. So whether it's clamping down the other team's second unit until the first unit get back in, or outscoring them, or both, clamping down and broadening the lead. That's what we're looking for. And I'm telling you, for those people, I know young people, y'all tired of hearing us talk about the 90s. We're going to get to that too. But I know young people are tired of hearing us talk about the 90s. But the favorite part that I loved about it was there was a point in time when we had a second unit. I remember having, it was our second unit. We had John Starks coming off the bench. Herb Williams, some people remember the older version of Herb Williams, but he was a long time backup to Patrick Ewing. We had Mace coming off the bench. Bruh, I mean, a lot of people were saying that we had Rolando Blackman at a certain point. A lot of people were saying that our second unit could be a starting unit on another team, and that's exactly what you want. You want no drop off. If anything, somebody who could push the lead forward when your starters go out. You want a second unit that's going to be battling your first unit in practices. That's how you get better. And I think that's exactly what Leon Rose pulled off. So round of applause goes to the front office, and they get the egg for the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli for the free agency signings. Round of applause for them. An added bonus here at Knicks Deli.
Knicks Deli edition.
For the draft picks, because right now we're seeing the Summer League is taking place right now. We struggle busting a little bit, but, we have Diawara looks good. Our pick from last year, Pacome Dadier, he looks good. Our point guard is struggling a little bit. But once again, we're looking like we have a solid farm system that's developing. And that's what you want. You want veterans who have enough of a window that we can battle year in, year out for about 3 to 4 years. And then you want a nice little, backup of young players who can slide into these starting spots, a few of them, and then we'll build around them. And then you want the babies developing in those years as well, so they can kind of move through the ranks. That's a solid organizational structure. And that's exactly what we have here in New York right now. So who gets the cheese of the game, you're asking? Cheese of the game here at Knicks Deli this morning goes to Knicks Twitter Day. Let's go.
Knicks Deli edition.
Knicks Twitter Day. Round of applause for Knicks Twitter Day. Shout out to all y'all. First and foremost, shout out to Sean. Great job. Always love your energy. You're always at the forefront, man. You do you represent yourself well on television. You do a great job just interacting with the fans. Knick fans, come on, man. Let's stay together. If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. It's just a great effort, a great movement that you all have participated in. It's a great movement when celebrities, it's a great movement when media personalities, when they take notice and they want to be part of what we're doing. It's a great movement when celebrities and media personalities want to take part in what you're doing. So whether it's engaging or following, listen, man, I'd never imagined in my life that Chuck D would follow me on Twitter. Never in my life would imagine that. Who does that? Never in my life would imagine that, I make a comment and I tag the roommates and they like it. You know what I mean? Like, and I know we sound like little kids or whatever have you, but that's exactly what fandom is about, especially with Knicks Nation, baby, because we are fans. Each of us have careers, we have families, we work hard, so this is our hobby. This is our escape. This is our reason to take off the shirt and tie, to take off the Timberlands, take off the construction boots, and just vibe out, unobstructed. And we've developed a community that's respected. No other team's fan base, organizations like us, because we're separate, we're different. Media, we change the media. anybody who is including social media personalities in the sports world is as a result of Knicks fans. I promise you that. Shout out to CP. Because the moment, television media was failing, especially out of the pandemic, they were failing. And what was burgeoning was social media. Knicks fans, content creators, burgeoning at the fastest pace, the Knicks fan base with the different channels. That's when they started to get their ideas. That's when they started to sprinkle in, listen, this is a whole different fan base. You have content creators who have their own built-in fan base. And they tapped into that. I saw it when it was happening. So shout out to Knicks Twitter Day. It was beautiful in terms of the pictures. I didn't see it, but I loved it. A lot of the main characters who ball, y'all cats ball, I don't ball. But a lot of the main characters were there. And the thing about it is it brought eyes. You see who's paying attention. It's already enough. We got celebrities within our own fan base. You know what I mean? I love what Ash Moss is doing. Ashley, do your thing. Congratulations to you. Continue to rise. CP, all y'all stars continue to rise. Shout out to Chris Persinian, reporter, of all sports, especially with the Knicks. Continue to rise. Shout out to all y'all. But it's a beautiful thing when they want to be part of what it is you put together. And to see Ben Stiller show up and was just like uninhibited in terms of taking the time to take photos, and they shake hands and take pictures all day, every day. But when you have celebrities who prove that they're people as well, and they're not rushing to get away, but also it takes a fan base who knows how to give them enough space so that they're comfortable being in that environment. And then you realize that you're all human. Come on, baby. Come on. That's what I love about being part of this family. That's exactly what I love about being part of this family. Because Ben Stiller sees it. And the fact that he did it is huge. The fact that he did that was huge. Because he now opens the door for all of the celebrities. You know who's paying attention. But you know who gotta be tight right now, right? You know who gotta be tight? Rappaport. Michael Rappaport, that ninja gotta be tight, boy. Because I know he's saying, that should have been me. That should have been me. It still can be you, bro. You go over there with Pooch and the Nets over there. Shout out to Anthony Pooch. I think it's Puccio. He's doing a phenomenal job as a Nets writer. Shout out to him. He's trying to grow the 4-fan base, the 4-person fan base over there, but he does a great job. Quality reporter. Shout out to him. I follow him on Twitter, actually. But yeah, Rappaport got to be tight right now, seeing Ben Stiller out there, So Knicks Twitter Day, congratulations, Sean. Congratulations, CP, whoever won and whoever played. Congratulations to you all, Mills Media, all of y'all. You know what I mean? Continue to do what it is you do. We're proud of you, and we all here. So that makes it the bacon, egg, and cheese, all right? Mike Brown being new coach, the free agent signings, and Knicks Twitter Day. So round of applause for the bacon, egg, and cheese here at Knicks Deli. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know anytime I drop a new video, baby. Now, next up on the menu is the dollar slice. Who gets the dollar slice today here at Knicks Deli? And the dollar slice goes to, speaking of, my guy Josh Hart. Round of applause for Josh Hart here at Knicks Deli. And the dollar slice goes to Josh Hart because he took an opportunity to defend Thibs. There were a lot of people going in. There was a lot of people going ham on Thibs, when Mike Brown got selected and hired as coach. A lot of people started coming out and voicing their opinions. Yeah, Thibs was terrible. And it seemed to be an echo chamber. It seemed to be a real collection of everybody jumping in on the bandwagon, on Thibs. And I love the fact that Josh Hart came out with his post. He was just like, oh, I see all y'all. All of y'all are lanes. You know what I mean? He was just like, yo, Thibs was only released because we decided to go in a different direction, but don't act like he wasn't the one to pull you out of the doldrums. I'm paraphrasing. That's not what he said. But he dropped the most fire Instagram, post, IG post and Twitter post. You just like, yo, yeah, y'all clowns. Y'all are all lanes. because now you're taking this opportunity to try to tap dance on this man's grave when it's simply a matter of us going in a different direction. Recognize him for what he did for you guys, giving you a reason to cheer, giving you a reason to be able to cheer for a respectable team. He put respect on our name in the sports world. He gave you an opportunity not to be clowned at because you having a Knicks Twitter day. You know what I mean? So put some respect on that man's name. And today we're going to put some respect on Josh Hart's name, because once again, Josh Hart, I hope you watch this video, bro. Because I'm telling you, when you first came here, I thought you were just clowning. I thought you really was all about clowning. I thought it was, the comedy routine of you and Jalen Brunson, and in comedy terms, you was the straight guy, and then there was the funny guy, I forget what they call, but I don't know, it just seemed like either you was eating chicken or something, you just, farming for laughs. But man, when I tell you, bro, you came here and you showed that there's a time and a place for everything. You can still have that personality about you, but you have more moments than not where it looks like you're about the business of winning a championship. And that's exactly what I was hoping for every team. That's what I was hoping for Julius. He couldn't find that balance though, and Julius, I'm not going to crap on him because he also helped turn this organization around. But I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of the fact that you and Jayla and this whole squad continues to stay connected with the fan base, but while, taking everything seriously on the court, competing your tails off night in and night out, putting your bodies on the line, all of that, man. So nothing but respect for Josh Hart and the squad. Thank you for stepping in and being like, y'all wilding out right now, because it shows that you pay attention, and it also, once again, strengthens that connection between us, and it shows that you guys are not untouchable in terms of hearing our voices. And for the longest time, that was the biggest thing, because Knicks fans always felt like they were never heard. Even though we carried the most weight, we felt like we were never heard by the organization. And you guys have changed that. So shout out to the Dollar Slice here at Knicks Deli today. Josh mother flipping Hart, my guy Josh Hart. All right. Next up on the menu, I'm going to breeze through this because I feel like I've already talked long. Who gets the chopped cheese of the game? Now, the chopped cheese is relatively new to that New York menu, but that thing be busting. So we're going to talk about who gets the chopped cheese today here in Knicks Deli. And the chopped cheese got to go to my guy, IShowSpeed. Let's go. Round of applause for IShowSpeed. So IShowSpeed decided to team up with Giannis Antetokounmpo over in Greece to do a live stream. Now, this is what happens, because ultimately there was a clip that showed IShowSpeed ask Giannis about, hey, so you possibly thinking about going anywhere? Would you ever see yourself? You start talking about taxes. There ain't no taxes in Miami, but there's taxes. Taxes are crazy in New York. Would you ever see yourself going to New York? And he was just like, nah, a lot of people told me to go to New York. Now, a lot of us ran with that. We took that clip. We ran with it. Giannis coming to New York. He's thinking about it. People are talking to him about it. IShowSpeed, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you what happened. And it's clear. I think we all know what happened. Speed is a streamer, and Giannis follows stream. So he understands what's happening. Both of them are clowns in a good way. All right. So when IShowSpeed said it, he had the deadpan look down at the ground like he knows Knicks Twitter is about to go crazy with whatever Giannis says. So you could tell it was a pre-discussion that was happening before the cameras turned on. IShowSpeed was just like, listen, I got something for you to do. You ain't got to be specific. But what I'm going to say is, we're going to talk about taxes in the States or whatever. And you give us a little something about New York. All right. And then you mention all the other teams, and then you can brush it off, but just do that. And I guarantee you, we're going to go to sleep. We're going to look at the engagement. It's going to go crazy. Knicks fans are going to pull on this. ESPN's going to see what Knicks fans are doing. They're going to pull on that. We're going to send the world crazy. And that's exactly what they did. So I still say, take that comment with a grain of salt. It was trolling. It was engagement. But once again, take it with a grain of salt, but don't completely dismiss it, because Leon Rose has done some magnificent things since he's been here. And but shout out to Speed for doing the Knicks God's work. Okay, but I'm happy with the I'm happy with the squad that we have now, because with the addition of the bench and the starters that we have, I'm good money with rolling with this. Giannis ain't beating us. Giannis ain't beating us. So, I mean, you could play it when you want. Oh, New York, Texas. No, I don't think so. I'm never going to do that. You can say all that if you want to, but you ain't beating us. You ain't beating us. Wait, who you got? Miles Turner? Come on, B. So, we know it's all fun. And we would not be mad if you came to New York. But don't be talking about it like we gonna be lunch meat, bruh. Look, our baloney has a first name. You know what I mean? It's SCAR. We will stomp you. That made no sense. But I said it with confidence. Okay? Don't sleep on us, Giannis, because you'll be the same place that you are right now. Home on vacation, where we are also. So I guess everybody is, because finals is over. Damn it, it's late. Okay? But round of applause goes to the chopped cheese, Giannis and IShowSpeed. Put your hands together for them. Now, you can't have the dollar slice. You can't have the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can't have the chopped cheese if you ain't got nothing to wash that thing down with. We call that here at Knicks Deli the quarter water of the game. So who gets the quarter water of the game? Round of applause goes to the two all-stars of the New York Liberty. We got Sabrina Ionescu and we got Breanna Stewart. Round of applause for those ladies. Round of applause. Yeah. So it's actually, I think, the first time in the sports history that two all-stars from the New York Liberty, who were starters, two all-stars named to the New York Knicks, who were starters, in the same year. Okay? If it's not NBA history, it's New York history, baby. So round of applause, shout out to the New York Liberty and our all-stars from there. And shout out to the New York Knicks and our all-stars from there as well. You guys get the quarter water of the game. Okay? Now, as we wrap this thing up, do me a favor, like this video, subscribe, hit the notification button. I'm wrapping these. I'm really pumping out the content. I'm on a roll. My creativity is flowing. Because there's some people out there who are hating. There's some people out there who are actively, hoping that the creativity stops flowing. I got news for you. It ain't working. It ain't working. So I got you. I'm on it right now. So 2 more things. Who gets the nah son, nah you wildin'? Wait. Before I go there, since we talking about the haters, I want to get the glizzy of the game on the menu. Throw that glizzy on the game on the menu. Throw that glizzy on the stove. Okay? Who's going to get the glizzy of the game today here at Knicks Deli? Hey yo, who gets the glizzy of the game? So the glizzy of the game goes to your boy LeBron James and your boy Kevin Durant. I know I did a video on it, but I just gotta pull these cats out. I gotta pull them out to the front so we can talk about this right now, because the hate is crazy. I love the fact that they got eviscerated on social media. Eviscerated on social media. Okay? Because what they're saying is blasphemous. Just because you got a beef with Mike, because you can't do nothing to bring down his records or his name or his reputation. Damn, that sounds familiar. Just because you can't reach him on Mount Everest, up there with the Titans, just because you can't reach him and pull down his reputation, don't mean that you got to sit here and then throw mud and try to get your little minions to agree with you, because it's not working. These guys had the nerve to say, Mike, they were clearly throwing shots. And I'm not a Michael Jordan fan because I hate this dude because he gave us the work. Okay? But it's so crazy how insecure this cat is. And the fact that he talked about, he was just like, it wasn't even him. It was almost like he threw the lob to KD and KD caught that thing and, he was just like, oh yeah, you gotta, fall in love with this thing over and over again. Because the goal is to play 20 years. Right now, Ninja, the goal is to win. The goal is to win. Because, some people ain't into, you win 4 MVPs and 4 championships in 10 to 12 years, and then you go play baseball. You supposed to be a student of the game? Y'all supposed to be minding the game. Ain't that the name of the podcast? Yo, Steve Nash, you gonna co-sign that? Y'all don't realize this ninja's father got murdered? And he was being drugged through the news because he was gambling. So with that, they started saying, do you think you got a gambling problem? And then they had the nerve to try to associate him gambling with the loss of his father. And that stress was all piling up, which is why he took the break. Crazy. And y'all don't know enough to do the research on that. Y'all think the man was just like, oh, I'm tired of dominating. Let me go play baseball. Y'all mother flippers are crazy. And he played baseball because that was the first sport his dad connected him to. Y'all cats is wildin'. And in the same interview, and this is once again, these cats are doing the same thing IShowSpeed and Giannis did. But the fact of the matter is who they are in this sport. So you literally don't care about your legacy because you know your legacy is tainted. LeBron was able to at least stack up and KD did the same thing, stacked up to win a championship. But KD, who's retiring your jersey, bro? What team can you go back to like Carmelo was going back to the Knicks and cheering on their team? What team you going back to for that? You don't got a home, bro. And LeBron, you're going to force Cleveland because Cleveland ain't got nothing else. You're going to force them to go there. You think you're going back to LA to chill and to chill with those stars and be part? You think they're going to embrace you like, you think you're going to have that same treatment like Steph Marbury is having in the Garden? Bruh, it's nope. But you'll be there with, look, you think you're going to Miami? You think Miami going to show you love like that? That's why they're trying to bring Jordan's name down here so they can reach it. Up here, no matter what they do, they can't get up here. It's too thin. Their wings aren't fit to go to those altitudes. That man said, I can't wait till I become a grandfather so I can hold up a sign that says 101 and tell them, and they're like, yeah, they're gonna believe you, right? They ain't gonna do research. They're gonna believe. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. You supposed to have been the face of the league. You supposed to be guarding the shield. You had the baton passed to you. You supposed to be running that thing, making sure all these youngins behind you keep that in track. But you know what? That don't work no more because I tried it. That don't work. Matter of fact, LeBron, you right. That don't work. When you try to set a standard and then you pass it down to the next generation, the respect, the ethics, protecting the game, treating the game right, giving enough to the game, and the game will get back to the people coming behind you. When you do all that, it's supposed to prove fruitful and respectful, that generation that's coming behind you. But now we got the KDs and the LeBrons completely disrespecting anything that came before them that tried to give them the jewels. Oh yeah, I see that happening now. It must be a generational thing. That's why y'all ninjas get the glizzy of the game. I don't even know if y'all can hear that, but it's disgusting. Man. Glizzy of the game, go to y'all mother flippers. All right? And lastly, who gets the nah, son, nah, you wildin' moment of the game?
Nah, son, nah, you wildin'.
Nah, son, nah, you wildin' goes to Knicks Twitter once again. Yo, y'all was bugging. Y'all cats, Knicks Twitter is so funny, bro. When we hadn't hired Mike Brown as of yet, so many people was making these jokes about who the Knicks tapped into to see if they were interested in becoming coach, because so many people was turning us down, like Ime and J Kidd or whatever have you. So they were just like, we reached out to Coach Carter of the movie. Coach Carter, got turned down. The Knicks got turned down by Coach Carter. Or we're going to reach out to Tupac from Above the Rim. He wasn't available for a response. I'll go to hell. I don't care. I know y'all are too. They said that we reached out to Tom Thibodeau. What? Wait, what? So round of applause or the nah you wildin' moment of the game goes to Knicks Twitter for all the jokes that they had about who's going to be our next coach.
Nah, son, nah. You wildin'.
All right, so we are at 35 minutes. I want to thank y'all for joining me. That is the end of Knicks Deli. Keep this in mind. The same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. But always remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Deli, baby.
Everybody eats.
I'm your boy, Sheer, and I'm out. Peace.